Hi, I'm back with another video. I just shot a relaxing skincare, get ready with me, minimal makeup look, which is what I have on my face right now. Hopefully I'll put both of these up at the same time. I feel like maybe 12 people watch these videos, but thank you for watching. Hope you're one of them. I guess you are one of them because you're watching. It's May 21st, 2020. It is my friend Sophie's birthday. Happy birthday, Sophie! And I am doing the video that I have been thinking about doing for a while, which is a video of all the clothes that my mom made for herself that I have inherited. She has made me a lot of clothes as well, and that is going to be another video. Because my mother made them for herself, she started making them in the 60s up through the 90s. She wasn't making more clothes for herself necessarily into the 90s, I think because she was making clothes for me and sometimes for my brother. I think when he was younger, she made a lot of clothes for him. Less so when he got older. This one, I actually spoke with my mom and kind of interviewed her about these specific pieces. I'm also doing another like top 10 style because I had a couple more pieces than 10, but I think 10 is a good number. I knew a lot of the backstory for these, but it was really nice to chat with her about things that maybe I've taken back to New York that she hasn't seen in a long time. It was nice to hear her reminisce about where she was living when she made some of the clothing, where she wore it, how she wore it, if she wore it. So let's just get started. I think there's, again, with the descending order, last time I got really confused. I have them written down. I think I'm gonna go from like easiest things to talk about, kind of like undershirts. I'll go in the order that I spoke with my mom about them. How about that? I always thought this was silk, but my mom said that it's some kind of rayon material. We decided that she must have purchased this tank top instead of made it. So my mom purchased this, but then she did the dye, the tie-dye. You'll be able to see it better when I try it on. She said that this was one of her early dye pieces. As I have talked about in other videos, my mom batiked fabric and made clothing with her mom, my grandmother, and her sister, my aunt. So fabric dyeing and clothing dyeing has been a part of my mom's life for quite a long time, as well as my life because of my mom. But so she said this is an early dye from the late 60s, early 70s. She was in her 20s, we decided, and she wore this a lot. She liked it because it was a skinny tank top. It's kind of like long and narrow, almost. Like it could almost fit as a dress. When I inherited it, I believe I was a little bit smaller, and sometimes I would wear it like a long dress with like bike shorts or a little mini skirt underneath. Yeah, my mom really liked wearing this. She said she wore it a lot. I have also worn it a lot, and now the seams have come apart. It's a bit raggedy, so I have stopped wearing it so much, but I still wear it. It is really comfortable. The rayon material is very drapey. I like the tie-dye effect also, like the kind of rosy pink and white against this like greenish black base. And my mom said she thinks this was a white tank top, maybe from JCPenney. She said she bought a lot of tank tops from JCPenney and then would treat them. That's actually the next top. So my mom also said that when she made this, she was living alone in LA on the west side. So I think she was living in Santa Monica or Venice Beach. And she was in her 20s, and she must have made this in her backyard or maybe just in her kitchen on the stove. The next top is a little tiny tank top as well. This one is child-sized. It doesn't have a tag. Actually, this one doesn't have a tag either. I believe this is the tag on that one. So I can't read what that says. This one also doesn't have a tag, but my mom was guessing that it was a tank top from JCPenney. She liked buying the kids' tank tops. She was really small and could fit into kids' clothing. And this top is a bit tight on me, but it kind of stretches, you'll see in the try-on. And it's really cute. It also seems like she didn't wear it really, and when I was talking to her about it, she said that she batiked this shirt to sell it at the stand that she and her mom had. And then she was talking about how they would set up a table during Issey week. Issey means second generation Japanese American. They would have a Issey week festival with flowers, ikebana displays, and then my mom and her mom would set up a table with their batiks. She thinks that she made this top for that type of event. And then the bunny, which I think is very charming, she said came from a book of Japanese symbols or designs. She used to have a lot of books that had Japanese imagery. She must have copied the rabbit from that. And I really like this top because I was born in the year of the rabbit, and I always associated rabbits with me. And I once wore this to my friend's house on Easter. I just like this top. I don't wear it a lot, but it's lovely. It's a really, really pretty cornflower blue. It's a little more periwinkle than the top that I'm wearing right now. Next, I will talk about these leggings. These are a pair of leggings made from Betsey Johnson fabric. My mom really liked Betsey Johnson, but she wasn't able to afford designer clothes for a long, long time. So she probably bought this fabric in the 80s when my parents lived in Berkeley, in the house where I was born and grew up for a little bit. At that time, my parents started having a little more expendable cash. I think she bought some Betsey Johnson pieces at this time at a sample sale, but they also had fabric. So she bought this fabric and another floral fabric with a white background, and I don't have those leggings here in New York. So she bought the fabrics, made the leggings. I actually remember her wearing these leggings when I was young. She wore these a lot through the 90s. She must have made these in the late 80s. And I think they're really pretty, just soft, stretchy lycra material. The elastic is cracking a little bit. The shape is also really nice. She kind of did a yoke shape at the top of the leggings. And I think that I found these when I was in college, or maybe high school, but I wore them more in college. When I first moved to New York, I got a job at opening ceremony as a salesperson. And I remember some journalists from Nylon magazine in Japan asked if a couple of us would be in the magazine as like shop girls from America, and they asked me to be in the magazine. And so the day of the shoot, I wore these leggings and a shirt from one of my other videos that my mom had reconstructed, the Modern Mannschaft soccer shirt. So I wore all hand-me-downs from my family for that photo. I'll try to find the photo. I might be able to find it, and if so, I will insert a picture here. So next is this blue dress. It's a navy and white patterned dress made out of some kind of like, again, like drapey rayon kind of synthetic material, but not polyester. It has more of a natural drape than that. My mom said that she made this dress in the 70s or the 80s. Got the fabric from probably a fabric store in Los Angeles. She was living in LA in the 70s and 80s, or early 80s. She said she might have gotten it at a place called Kaufman's Fabrics. I don't think I ever went there with her. She got the fabric because it reminded her of like fabric from the 1940s. It either was actual dead stock fabric from the 40s, or it just reminded her of that. And I guess it was probably the late 70s. She was like into wearing kind of 40s fashion. She said she got a lot of fabric, like 4 or 5 yards of it. And that is why she made this dress, which is also kind of a dress made out of a lot of fabric. It has these pleats, which are quite beautiful and seem difficult to sew, in my opinion. So she had enough fabric that she could pleat the dress. It really hangs like kind of like a sack, or like it doesn't balloon exactly. You'll see in the cutaway. And it's a midi length dress with these big blousey sleeves that go down to about the elbow. It has this like neck ribbon that comes down. There's a little like button placket in the back. This is the back of the dress, although I have worn the buttons in the front from time to time. She even took the time to cover over these buttons in the same fabric and to hand sew these little loops. So this dress really was a labor of love, and it has these like ties that you can tie up around the neck, or do like one tie, do a bow. She said that the pattern most likely came from Simplicity, McCall's, or Vogue, which, judging from when I was growing up and I would go to fabric stores like Joann's with my mom, those are still the same brands of pattern books that they have now: Simplicity, McCall's, and Vogue. She said she wore it as a dress-up dress. She said she often wore it with tights, black tights specifically, and black shoes. I'm not sure why it was a dress that she wore with tights specifically, but I like that styling. And I have worn that dress also for somewhat formal occasions. I wore it when I had Thanksgiving with a friend of mine in New York, just the two of us. And we cooked all day and then went and changed, and I wore that dress. So I think the shape isn't the most flattering, and that's what my mom said as well, but it is a dress for a certain occasion, and both of us have worn it in that context. The next piece is this beautiful silk top. This is one of my favorite items of clothing that my mom has made. I just think it's so pretty, and I think part of the reason is because it is silk. I think like fabric makes a difference. It also makes things wear out faster, so this has seen better days. I've had to hand sew parts where it's ripped. I actually don't wear it except for every once in a while. But I mean, I'm glad that it's had a life of its own after my mom stopped wearing it. But she said that she wore this shirt a lot. I think we decided that she made this in the 70s because she was living in Venice Beach, and she did a lot of batiking in the 70s, late 60s, 70s. She probably batiked the fabric at her mom's house because her mom had the whole setup with the wax and hot plates and everything. Oh yeah, we decided this was the late 70s. She constructed this top from a Calvin Klein pattern that came from Vogue. And it's a very simple, a little bit boxy, but because it's made out of silk, it drapes nicely and it doesn't feel so boxy. It has these like quick little Jesus fish emblems on it. My family is not Christian, so I tend not to think that they are Jesus fish, but that's always kind of like what we joked about. I like it because I'm a Pisces and Pisces fish, and I think my mom and I both really love the ocean and water. So actually my mom doesn't like the beach and I don't think she likes swimming, but I do think she likes the ocean. She's gonna watch this and we'll see if I'm right or not. I really like the periwinkle color. It's a really pretty like lavender, dusty, bluish periwinkle color. I remember when I found this in a box, I thought, oh, that's kind of like a grown-up top or something. It felt very adult to me, and so I think I started wearing it more when I moved to New York and I got into the phase, my adult phase of my life, which just means like post-undergrad. And I started working at a real job. Even though it was just a retail job, I would wear this there. It made me feel grown up. Next, I have this super nice crocheted sweater. This one is really boxy, which I like about it, but it does make it a little bit hard to wear. I think what's actually hard to wear about it is that it is a cropped short sleeve sweater, but it's made out of a pretty thick wool and it's kind of itchy. So it's like, do you wear a tank top under it? Do you wear it as a shirt? Do you wear a long sleeve shirt under it in the wintertime? I don't know, but I think it's really cool. And my mom said she went through a crazy crochet period of time, which I think was in the 60s. No, it says mid to late 70s. She also crocheted another sweater the same shape as this in a wine-colored yarn, wool as well, that she also made a matching hat to the wine-colored sweater. That one is still at my parents' house in storage, but I saved this like variegated oatmeal one. I've had this one in New York for a while. It has really pretty ceramic buttons. So she did say that because of the handmade buttons, you can't wash this sweater in the washing machine, but I don't think you can wash wool like this in the washing machine. Anyways, I've never washed this sweater. She said that she made this in the mid to late 70s. She was living in Venice Beach and she was a substitute teacher. She got really, really into crocheting, as well as the other sweater that she made. She made like a couple ponchos that I found that are like pretty 70s hippie. I like them. I would not bring them here to wear them. She also made a really beautiful multicolored crocheted blanket that I had in college, and then when I moved to New York, I thought I should send that back to California so that they can keep it safe, because I didn't know what was gonna happen with my life in New York. So it's still in California. Very beautiful. I love the crochet. I am going to talk about 3 pieces. So these are actually like 7, 8, and 9, or since we're going in descending order, it would be 4, 3, and 2. But they are a set. And this, my mom made and wore a lot, and I have worn this a good amount as well. Not really in recent years, but this is this great Issey Miyake like 3-piece outfit that my mom made from a Vogue pattern. At first, when I was talking to her, she said it might be Yohji Yamamoto. I remembered it as Issey Miyake, and then when we talked about it more, she said, yeah, I think that's actually Issey Miyake. So it's this beautiful drapey top. The top is the most special and idiosyncratic, and really makes you think like that is a Japanese designer piece. And then there's these like blousey pants, like loose fitting, I don't know what kind of pants you'd call them, like jogger pants, but big and fashiony. And then there's a like long straight skirt with an asymmetrical hemline. It has elastic, but it's quite wide. And so when I've worn this, I've worn it with a belt and the top kind of flopping over the top, which works fine, especially because if you wear them together, the top is long enough that it will cover the belt and you just see the nice hemline of the skirt. My mom said that she had this pattern for a while and she was really set on making it with wool jersey because the pattern called for wool jersey for the drape of it. I think she probably could have made it in silk or silk jersey or some other fabric that draped a similar way, but she really, really wanted wool jersey, and that's hard to find. So she was living in the Bay Area, but she actually found the fabric in Los Angeles on a visit. She made this in the late 80s and wore it a lot and loved it. And I actually kind of remember my mom wearing this, even though she must have worn it when I was pretty young. This set is very, very special, not only because she made it, obviously, and loved it and wore it a lot. I think also because it is this avant-garde Japanese designer whose clothes she really, really admired but couldn't afford, but she could afford the pattern, and she found the right fabric. So it was kind of like it all came together to work out and make this really special outfit. And I also just think like the tone of this rusty brown is very, very nice. Like, brown is a hard shade, I think, generally, and it could go wrong, but the warmth of this brown and the red tones, the like rustiness of it, are quite lovely and timeless. I actually feel like this outfit makes a lot of sense in 2020, and she made it 40 years ago. That could be part of the design as well. Issey Miyake is quite avant-garde. A set that holds up and looks great to this day. The last piece that I want to talk about is so gorgeous. This was the piece that I brought back most recently to New York. I had seen it a few times going through old boxes. Thought it was really, really awesome, but I wasn't ready for it yet. And just recently I remembered it and was like, oh my gosh, that coat, jacket, it would look so good now. It is a quilted, kind of 60s, 70s style jacket that's made from this beautiful batik fabric that my grandmother made. using a stamp from Indonesia that she used to stamp the wax. That was what this like floral pattern and vine came from. And then she hand painted each flower with dye, and maybe she stamped some of the hand painted parts. And then she covered that over completely with wax, and then she dyed it with this like mauve taupey brown color. Actually, again, talking about brown, this is also a really nice brown. It almost has a little bit of purple in it. That's why I say mauve. I think that it's also set off by some of the like more fuchsia violet tones in the painting. Again, this jacket is like a work of art to me. I think it's great. Mom made it in, we're thinking late 60s, early 70s. That was like the time when they were doing a lot of the dye, the batik stuff. My mom was living in Santa Monica. She was in her 20s, early 20s. She got the fabric from her mom and then quilted the entire jacket around each flower. Said it took her like a full solid week, which doesn't seem like that long to me. She was so annoyed making it, was so painstaking, but she did it because she knew that she had to do it, or she was compelled to do this. Probably partially it was that the fabric was so special that she felt like the garment that she made from the fabric also should be really special, and I think that that's why in total this is a really cool piece. She said that like the shape of the jacket was inspired by Rudy Gernrich, who was a designer in the 60s and 70s, I think. It has like a little bit of a formal quality. The sleeves bell out. It's a little bit stiff, I think also because of the quilting. I love that it's collarless. It's also very feminine in the shape. It kind of cuts in at the waist and then comes out over the hips. And she said she loved this jacket. It was a labor of love, but she didn't wear it that much. I'm kind of realizing that some of the things that my mom has made, she worked really hard on them, but she actually didn't wear them that much. And that's why they're in such beautiful condition. Also, they were made with really nice quality fabrics, and they were made to a high standard. My mom has really high standards for the things that she makes. And if they don't meet the standards, she'll tear them up and do it over again until it's perfect. That's why I think all of these pieces have stood the test of time, and I am still able to wear them. And if I don't wear them too much, hopefully, then maybe they can be passed down further into our family and people can enjoy these family heirlooms. It's so beautiful. I'm so lucky to have it, and I hope to wear it a lot when all this is over and I get to go outside. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you're doing really, really well. Staying healthy, staying happy. Let me know if you think I should keep making these videos. I enjoy making them, and I hope you enjoy watching them. Bye.